Well, welcome everybody to our speaker series. As Sharon said, we cannot be able to see you. Hopefully you can see us. We're really excited to have this opportunity to really connect after what we feel has been quite a long time. 18 months plus ago, we left our offices thinking we were just going to be gone for 2 weeks, at the most a month. And 18 months later, here we are still virtual, working, very different than we thought on March 20th of 2020. Every year, Regram Association does what we call speaker series, the month of September, October, and November. And this year we felt it was really critical that for the month of September, we get a chance to really connect with our families and kind of catch up. It has been a moment. We've been through a few things. We've learned quite a lot. It's been challenging, but in the process, we've also learned a lot. We feel that we've grown. We feel that we are stronger. We feel that we are more prepared for even bigger challenges because of what we've been through. But we felt it is important that as stakeholders, you kind of know, what we are doing. It is also important as you work in your specific area, when decisions are being made, you can understand the why behind what we are, the decisions that we are making. So today we are going to share a lot of updates. Most of them is just to make sure we are solid, the things that we are working on, new initiatives, and how we are looking at moving forward into the future. So I hope everybody has the agenda, and we will follow the agenda in that order. And at the end, we are going to have question and answer. You can use the chat function. You can raise your hand and you can be unmuted. And then if there are anything that are specific to you or your loved one, we will always be available to go ahead and, address those with you. So I am going to stop talking and turn this over to our first presenter. So Sharon and I will be facilitating this, and we look forward to having a great conversation today. So I would like to welcome Kim Zola, our President and CEO, to give us, updates and tell us a lot of things about statewide and also Regram specific. So Kim, it's all you.
Thanks, Karen. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to say it's great to see you, but I can't actually see you. As Sharon said, that we are in webinar mode, so only the panelists can see each other, but I know you're out there. So it really, in some ways feels like time has moved at a snail's pace during this pandemic. And then in a lot of ways, it feels like it was just yesterday, as Karen said, when we had to make the decision to close many of our programs and our services, many of our offices. Time was really flying by there because with this pandemic, we didn't have a playbook. We didn't have a policy manual to tell us the right thing to do. But I can tell you that every move that we made, every decision that we considered and either opted for or opted against was out of the highest level of concern for the people that we serve, their families, and our team members. I know it has been a very, very long 18 months for everyone. So before I say anything else, I want to just say thank you, on behalf of our entire organization, for your patience, for your trust in us, and for hanging in there and being willing to take steps forward as we were able to start taking steps forward. We've had a few starts and stalls as it comes to resuming services, but mostly starts. I think that we have learned a lot We are definitely no experts in COVID-19, but we have learned a lot of strategies and safety protocol that keeps people safe and healthy. So having said that, we felt that several months ago that we were able to start moving forward with our various programs and services outside of residential, because for the men and women that live with us 24/7 or have their own apartment and we support them intermittently, that's where we had to focus 100% of our resources for a long time. And we know that that was also trying for our families that we support that have their family member living at home with them. As time moved on and we got some green lights from the Department of Public Health, from Department of Human Services to start resuming services, we've been doing so in a very methodical and what we believe and we hope, and everybody knock on wood right now, safe manner. So we were really pleased when the vaccine became available that we were among the first organizations in DuPage County to gain access to the vaccine and was able to deploy it to just about everybody who at that time wanted it. We continue to make steps forward with the vaccine, with testing, with everything that we need to do. And I would guess that maybe our human resources director might say a few words about that tonight as well. So I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. I've heard from a couple of folks like, Kim, don't say this because I'm going to say this. So I want to be cautious about not stealing anybody's thunder. So I want to talk just briefly about what we have ahead of us. As Karen said, we are a strong organization. We were a strong organization and a strong team before the pandemic. And we, as Karen mentioned, I believe as well, are stronger today than what we were before this. And I think we have learned to be nimble, flexible, adaptable, creative, all of those things that we already knew that we were and that our team embodied, but we really took it to task during the pandemic. And, in a lot of ways, we have decided not to let this good crisis go to waste, meaning we took the opportunity to take a step back from much of the things that we were doing in terms of programs and services and supporting our team members and everything, and said, you know what, let's re-examine, because let's face it, in terms of the services and the way that they are funded and the things that we can do from a regulatory standpoint, there's great room for improvement. So let's really take a look at refreshing, renewing, revising. And I think that's probably what you're going to hear a lot about this evening as our leaders speak to you, is how we are looking at some things a bit differently. And that's one of the things that I think makes our organization special, is our ability to constantly evolve and change and look for new and better ways to do things. I just want to mention, in terms of, Karen asked for me to say a few words about Springfield legislation, all of that good stuff. We are actually at a quiet time right now for legislation. The session ended in June, and there was money allocated in the state budget for some funding that will be coming into the organization. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like. Carmel, our CFAO, is going to talk a little bit more to you about that. But what I want to mention is that what I'm afraid is going to happen is that when we come back and start advocating again to get more of an investment in the system that provides services to children and adults with intellectual and other types of developmental disabilities, what we might hear from legislators is that we gave you that money last year. So we can never, ever take our foot off the gas when it comes to pushing forward. We maybe have finally stopped digging the hole in terms of, moving forward, we felt like we were always digging that hole deeper and deeper and deeper because there was no investment coming into the system. I think the digging has stopped, but now we need to start relaying that footing and that groundwork to get our heads out of that hole and be able to look forward and be able to do some good things. So it's going to be very important that we keep pounding that drum. We will give you very specific messages. And one time I was speaking with a legislator, and I don't remember who it was, but what they said to me was, Kim, if we get 4 phone calls about a single issue, it gets our attention. To me, that's a pretty simple task, to generate 4 phone calls to legislators across our area about the issues that are important. So that's really something that has resonated with me when it comes to advocacy and how important it is. And I'm talking about phone calls from not people like myself, because every time I walk into a legislator's office, they know what I'm going to say. It's from families, it's from people who get our services, it's from our team members. So it's going to be really hard this year to get attention because it's yet another election season. So in Illinois, every 2 years, it's an election cycle. So we make progress, and then it's election cycle. Then we make progress, and then it's another election cycle. This is an election cycle. But what I want to do as a goal is to make our services, our needs known, and make it a platform for people who are running for election. Let's have that voice that is really loud and very vocal, that it causes them not to be able to ignore us. So I'm looking forward to partnering with you all as we do every year with the legislature. Your voices have been heard. We have received funding over the last, I think, 4 years, a little bit, but as Karma will tell you, when she speaks, the funding allocated to the system this last session was what I would call significant. So not enough, but a significant step forward. So thanks again for being here tonight. I want to put a shout out to our RayGram team members who are with us tonight, and all of those who are not with us tonight. They really embody the mission and the values of our organization, and they make great things happen. And I'm just really proud to have the opportunity to work alongside them and hopefully offer some support and guidance as we move down this path. So thanks so much. I'm going to kick it back to Karen and to Sharon.
Thank you so much, Kim. And I'm going to second you when we talk about our team. I think during this whole COVID pandemic, we always knew we had a great team. We just didn't realize how awesome a group, selfless, committed, and they've been here every step of the way. Nobody said I need to be at home. They were like right there when we needed them. So we're really, really lucky to have a tremendous team like we do. We are going now to spend some time just kind of giving everybody an update of what we've been doing. When we talk about RayGram Association, it's really about our mission, who we are, what we do. And when we got into the situation we are in, we didn't all say, okay, we're going to close our doors now and we're going to go home. We figured out, how do we keep moving forward? How do we make sure the people we support continue to get good services? How are we going to be creative? How are we going to be resourceful, flexible? And I will tell you right now, some of the things we do, I have told the team over and over and over again. I would have argued them to death and said, we can't do that. And I am telling you, sometimes when there's no way, you find a way, and you are amazed at the things that people are able to do. And the people we support, how much they are able to adapt. So I think this goes to Catherine and the Community and Family Support Services. They'll be talking about that service area. And then after that, it will be Kelly. So Catherine.
Sure. Oh, good. I'm not on mute. I'm usually on mute. Hi, I'm Catherine Campos. I'm the Director of Community and Family Support Services. I've been with Ray Graham a couple of times. I was here many years ago in the early 2000s for about 6.5 years. Then I left for a while and came back. And I've been back now for, I think, oh my goodness, 5 years this month. So I was the director of the Specialized Living Center upon my return. And when that facility closed, I made a transitional move over to Community and Family Support Services, where I've been since January. And what we wanted to do tonight is there's 6 departments that are in this, in CFSS, as we call it. And we want to kind of do an overview of those 6 departments, because even though I was with Ray Graham in another department, I didn't even know everything that was going on in CFSS and all the great programs they had and all the things they were doing. So I'm sure that not everybody on this Zoom call is aware of all the stuff that we have going on. So we wanted to kind of go through each department, give you an overview. And then, like Kim said, we'll talk a little bit about what we've done outside the box as we have kind of made our way through a pandemic this past year. Everyone has returned. We still have a lot of protocols in place, and everyone is masking and sanitizing and that kind of thing. But we've had to think outside the box a little bit. So you'll see that as we go through. And we have our team here tonight, except for our Gateway Superintendent for Special Rec. She's actually running some Special Rec as we speak. So I said I would do her portion. So you're going to miss Ryan today. But I wanted to introduce you to the whole team and kind of give you an overview and an update on CFSS. So we're going to start with the great Neil Patel, who's been here for many, many years. I've known her both times that I've been at Ray Graham, and she is the assistant director over the customized supports, and she's going to talk to you about home-based services.
Thank you, Catherine. Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for spending time, your evening with us. We appreciate your time today. As Catherine mentioned, I'm Neil Patel. I'm the Assistant Director of Customized Supports for the Community and Family Support Services. A long title, but many of you know me from my days working at Specialized Living Center and many other places, Sunrise Sports that we used to have in Roselle, or now with the home-based supports. And of course, we used to have respite services too, which I had pleasure of working with those 550 families at that time. I do oversee all of our 4 CLCs, QIDPs, and I also oversee the home-based services department. We have 6 service facilitators. You see them in the picture with us. And at Ray Graham, we like to call them, instead of self-directed assistants, at the title that the state gave us, but because we are so resourceful and we provide resources to the family. So here at Ray Graham, we call ourselves as a resource coordinator. Our Qs and our resource coordinator has definitely done a very good job over this past 18 months and has continued to do ever, but more so in this past 18 months to keep the family connected with Ray Graham. Because of the new norms that we had to adapt very quickly when we all got the news of COVID and the protocols need to be changed and the procedures that needs to happen. Our Qs and the resource coordinator definitely worked very directly with all the families and kept them very well informed about what was going on at Ray Graham and how can we add resources to you and how can we can provide the support, because we were all staying where we were supposed to be in, and the day services were closed and we didn't know what else was coming and being thrown at us. I am not going to board you and read off on this from the slides that we have. You definitely can read that. Most of the home-based families that are here know what we do, but for those who are with us may not know about how the home-based waiver works, I'm just going to bring the information in the nutshell. So this is the home waiver funding that we get through the Medicaid. It's called home-based waiver services. It's for both. Ray Graham Association provides to both children and the adult waiver funding. At present, we serve about 293 families. During the COVID months, we had a flux of families that were looking for SDA services, and we were wondering how we can help them and get them enrolled and things like that. Our families were great. All the new families that joined the Ray Graham family, they definitely adapted the new ways of doing things via email or dropping off in the mailbox and printing it out and sending it to different providers and things like that. So we were able to work all the nitty-gritty part with them. They were very appreciative, and everybody adapted with the new system of working with them. We provide our services a little bit over 4 counties. We are mainly in DuPage, but we also provide services in our Bill County, Kane, Kendall, and also some part of Cook. We travel throughout all those four counties and also a little bit in the Cook County. Basically, what we do, the resource coordinator, we take out the guessing work, we take out the confusion that the funding brings to the families. So we make the process, we make the transition and the whole process smoother for the families. And the families can use their fund that fits their individual needs. We provide, most of the highlight that I definitely want to bring it out today is that RGA provides a consumer model, or as people know, it's called family model, where our families have options or choices to hire their own personal support workers into their home, who they're comfortable with, who they know, who they have relationship with. And we as SDAs, resource coordinators, we provide that support, connect them with the vendors, we connect them with other providers if they don't fit into our RGA day service or other Monarch services or supported employment, things like that. We find resources for them. Home-based services also offer temporary assistance when families are in need. So we are the person who initiate all the paperwork and assist the families with securing that funding through the state. The biggest thing also we do with the families is some folks also need home modification, like widening of the doorways or bathroom modifications or things like that. They also need accessible transportation to be back and forth from the community or access the community or go out and spend their time with their friends. So we also help them finding the Medicaid vendor, approved vendor for the van modifications and things like that. We also assist families to maximize their funding, how to budget them every month, and then also not spend a penny over from their monthly allocation. Otherwise, all the services get shut off. So even if it's a penny over, nobody gets paid. And so we monitor their monthly budget very closely. Again, you will see on the screen that we help them through our DRS funding. We also, continue their public benefits such as Medicaid waiver or help them with Medicare and also supplemental incomes and things like that, and finding all the resources. Our biggest thing also that we help them is to join them if they are definitely looking for a meaningful job or they want to develop their hobbies into a money-making opportunity. We definitely connect them with our supported employment department, which further you will hear them later with Deanna. And we also assist the families so they don't have to worry about the paperwork and all that stuff and then records to be kept. So we also help them define the goals and what is important for their loved ones. And we continue to work with all of our families. So we always work with our families and they don't have the interrupted services, and we also transition them smoothly. Catherine?
Thank you, Neil Patel. The next person I wanted to introduce is Deanna, the dynamic Deanna Kane, who is our Administrator of Employment Services. So I will let her do her part next.
Thank you, Catherine, and welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I am the Employment Administrator for Employment Services for RGA Association. We have a wonderful team of 7 job developers who assist people with finding employment in the community. We work closely with each person to ensure we find the right fit that matches the right person with the right job. We partner with 150 businesses throughout DuPage County. We service surrounding counties as well, like Will, Cook, Grundy, and Kane County, to help people find that and obtain that employment. We also work in partnership with the Department of Rehabilitation Services to assist people with their job search. We serve 150 people annually through job development, through resumes, through Dress for Success, through interviews and on-the-job training. We are a sponsor of Ride DuPage Transportation to ensure to get people to and from work. With a 90% retention rate, this means people are definitely keeping their jobs. So what separates us? What separates the CRP, other community resource providers from our community resource provider, Employment Services? And I will tell you, we think outside the box. During COVID onset, When I say we had to really, at this point, think outside the box, brainstorm, come back to the table, because we are in a community, we're community-based. So everything had shut down, we would stay in place. And now we have to figure out, how do we still support people? People who have lost employment. We had about 30 people that lost employment, and then people who are still seeking employment through this pandemic. So what we did was we started giving virtual services. We quickly modified our services for job preparation, job interviews, job leads. We did everything virtually. We did some on-site training because it required for us to go out, but we still kept the social distancing. We worked with employers to make sure that our people were safe, that we were safe going in to train our people. Currently, we are conducting job exploration classes now with our residential people through Ray Graham. And we also are conducting classes at the Bloomingdale Township High School and Lake Park High School through a small grant that we received through Bloomingdale Township. So when I talk about COVID-19 onset, we have a young lady who wanted employment and still wanted to pursue employment. This young lady named Lori, who have mental health related issues, came to us and said, I understand services are modified, but I want to do something to help. What can I do to help? I want to work. So we pursued a job that she was very interested in, and that was obtaining a job in a hotel to help people get housing at that time. And she got hired on with her job developer, working very closely with her as a front desk agent to help service people along those lines. We also attend local IEPs through high schools where we have volunteered our time to talk about bridging the gap between adult services in high school. Once people exit out of high school, adult services look very different. So what we're trying to do is inform everyone what services are out there once they exit out of high school. So with us, we believe in our team at Ray Graham. We believe with the right support, anyone can work. And that has been proven through 20 people during a pandemic actually getting jobs and keeping those jobs. So thank you for listening to me, and I'm glad you guys are here to hear our presentations.
Thank you, Deanna. Next up is Erica Wright and Aaron Halden. They kind of tag team as the dynamic duo of our community learning services. We have 4 sites across DuPage County, and they've really had to roll with the punches as guidance has changed on and off and up and down and sideways for the past 18 months. So I will let them talk a little bit about their services, what's going on, what's new.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Erica Wright. I'm one of the assistant program directors of Ray Graham. I specifically work with Amherst and Burr Ridge locations, but I work with all 4. Some of the things that we've been doing since people have returned back to our community learner service programs is really trying to get people back into their normal routine that they're used to. But with a twist, we know that we have people who attend our programs that really enjoy exploring the community. So we pride ourselves pretty much on the 4 E's, which is exposure, experience, education, and engagement. So with that, what we did is we work with the people supported and our team members to support them on how to spend a meaningful day doing things that they really enjoy doing. For those that really enjoy being out in the community, not just being in the community, but being a part of the community. So when we reached out to partnerships, just trying to seek opportunities for people, we were really, really confused and scared because with COVID, we thought a lot of people wasn't going to allow us to come in and volunteer, come in and recreate. But to our surprise, the need was still out there. A lot of the people that we reached out to, a lot of the families was like, you know, we know that we're still in COVID, but our family members are home, they're ready to come back. You know, what can you guys do for them? So we hit the table, we hit the grounds running, and what we came up with is our program Without Walls. So with that, people have the opportunity to either come and spend their day in the building, doing things that they really enjoy doing. And then those that don't typically like to just be closed in because they've been closed in for 18 months. So we try to support them to, start their day at one of the CLS programs and then end their day there. But in between, they're out in the community doing things that they enjoy, whether it be volunteering, whether it be recreating, doing health and fitness. We recently have joined the Amherst YMCA. People can go swimming, so those are some of the things that we have been working with people to do, when they're out in the community. But when they're in-house, we're doing spa days, we're doing music therapy, we're doing arts and sensory. People are like painting on canvases, and you can just imagine how beautiful the artwork that they display, so we really do pride ourselves on person-centeredness and supporting people to do things that they really enjoy doing, because at the end of the day, it's what they choose to do. It's not what we want to do, but it's what we can support them and what we can offer them to get more involved in doing things that they enjoy with the people who they enjoy doing it with. Erin?
Hi, good evening. I'm Erin Halden, the other assistant director in our community learning services program. I specifically oversee Bell and Main Street. And I just wanted to expound a little bit on the partnerships that Erica mentioned. We have a variety of schools that we're partnering with to offer occupational and speech therapy. We're doing that virtually. So while the students can't come to our programs directly, we're connecting with them over Zoom, and that's actually been working out really well. People look forward to seeing the students every week. They ask when they're scheduled to do the different therapies. So they really, really enjoy that. We have a partnership with an organization called Dynamic Links that provides music therapy to us every week. They're also doing it online, and we have the instruments with us, and we participate with videos and give them feedback about things that worked and things that people maybe didn't like as much, so they can switch it up and adapt it as we go. We have partnerships with Meals on Wheels, Woodridge and Bensonville food pantries, and they really rely on us to help support those communities with meals and food. So as much as we get out of volunteering with them and people get experiences doing different things, they really wait for us to come every week and even request sometimes that we do more than we've already scheduled ourselves to do. Erica mentioned the YMCA. We also volunteer with the Naperville Park District. We've adopted a park with the Monarch program as well to help support them and get the park ready for the community to use. We have a new relationship with NAMI, starting with peer counseling groups during the day. And we have meditation week, every other week with Science of Spirituality. And a lot of people have found benefits through that as well. One way that we also adapted, of course, during the pandemic was to offer virtual day services. And we continue to do that today because, of course, there are some families that aren't comfortable coming back yet. And some people have different medical reasons why they're not ready to be in the room with more people. So they are getting services at home through Zoom with the amazing John, who keeps them entertained and learning for 2 hours a day. They cover a variety of topics. It's very interactive. And again, we didn't know at the beginning of the pandemic how that would work and would people be able to connect over the computer, but it truly is something that people look forward to, and we even hear that their families in the background are look forward to seeing what John brings for the day. So that's another nice addition to our services and to meet people where they're at.
Thank you, Erin and Erica. Next up is Monarch Services. Kristen Garcia is the administrator and pretty much the founding member of Monarch. So I'll let her tell you about this program.
Good evening, everyone. It's such a joy to be able to share some information with you this evening on Monarch Services. Monarch offers a variety of unique day services. We offer a virtual service and also life coaching. We are all about building relationships at Monarch, whether that be through helping people build friendships or strengthen their friendships, or building partnerships within the community. So here you can see some people just recently enjoying, like Erin had mentioned, that volunteer partnership that we have with Naperville Park District, where we are beautifying the parks. In the middle there, you can see all of the joy that our raised garden bed have brought us over the summer months. And then at the end there, you can see just a recent morning that we spent over at an apple orchard. So yeah, so lots of very cool things going on. And it all started with Monarch Academy. So while working in partnership with families, we recognized the need to create a service option for young adults that was going to be something that would be smaller in size and something that would really be based out in the community. And, you know, obviously COVID, you know, gave everybody this curveball, but today we continue to navigate our community safely. We have reconnected with some of our volunteer partnerships, and we are enjoying many outdoor activities. So as you can see in the photo there, this group of young ladies was just getting ready to play some bocce ball. And you know, a day at Monarch is something that is filled with friendship, filled with being social, filled with volunteering, filled with learning more about yourself and enjoying the people around you. It's about our team and connections, and I, you know, it's one of the success stories that I think that we can always say about Monarch Academy is that we've really brought some families, we've been able to bring some families together. People who will live together in the future, people who have moved into places together with, you know, with our CLR department. So it's just been really wonderful to see relationships form over the years. So that's for Monarch Academy. And now we have Monarch 2. Monarch 2 is another day service option that we have, once again, created in partnership with families to meet the needs of young adults on the autism spectrum. At both of our Monarch 2 locations, we have customized schedules, we have sensory areas, we have you know, meaningful days where people are volunteering in the community, where people are enjoying schedules that they are used to, that they like that structure of. And then once again, it was really built with families and continues to be strong because of the families. And the Monarch Academy and Monarch 2 locations, we have services offered Monday through Friday. I know that you saw that on the slide there. For Monarch Life Coaching, this is a unique service area that we have where we pair up a team member with someone in the community who has, you know, identified a skill area that they would like to have receive some assistance with, whether it be, you know, the person might be moving into a new home or a new apartment situation, like the young man that you see there. He had just moved in when he started receiving life coaching services, and he was just getting used to using, you know, planning a healthy meal and using his kitchen and going grocery shopping and doing all those things on his own without his parents. And so this is a success story because when he started, and I can be the person to say that I was with him right when he started, there were a lot of frozen meals. There was a lot of things that people felt comfortable with, that he felt comfortable with, that we were getting away from, and we did. And then now, I mean, it's just, I get photos from Neil, who works with him, and now it's just plates of fresh fruits and vegetables and just amazing progress. And he feels so comfortable in his kitchen, and it, you know, it took just that life coach to, you know, to bring him through some of what was comfortable and to trying new things and to just really being so proud and really looking forward to spending time in his kitchen. And so I know that I've been invited to go back and enjoy a meal with them, and I can't wait to do that. And then the next area that we have here is the Zoom. So we have a virtual service that we offer as well. Each week, everyone in the group comes up with a list of ideas. We have, you know, ideas each week from everybody. We vote on it, and that becomes our theme. And my goodness, it has been hilarious. I don't know if you could see so well some of those pictures, but we've had people dress up. We have someone dressed up there as a sheriff. We had people show up with sheriff badges, and That was for our Western week. Lots of yeehaws and giddy ups and howdy partners that week, and lots of fun language that we were learning. But yeah, I mean, everything that everyone's interested in, we all explore together, and we have fun together, and we look forward to it. We look forward to our time, and we, you know, it's something that it was like everyone said, there was not a rule book, there was not a plan. It was us working with families and talking to people and seeing what they wanted and what they were excited about, and then just building it around them. And it's been fantastic, and it's been a great way to connect with people, like Erin had said, who are, you know, who haven't returned yet in person. So, yeah, so that's our Monarch Zoom. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kristen. This next department is one that if I could tell you I didn't know anything about before I came to CFSS, that would be an understatement. I've never even been on a horse. So Leah took over in, I think it was January, February, as our administrator of our therapeutic horsemanship program, but she had been with the program for well over a decade as an instructor and a lead instructor. So she knows the barn, she knows the horses, she knows all the animals. So it was a very natural move for her, a great promotion. So Leah DeWhite is our therapeutic horsemanship administrator, and I cannot really talk about these slides, although I'm learning. So I'm going to let Leah take over.
Hello, thank you everybody for joining us. Like Catherine said, I'm new to this position, but I am very familiar with our program, and what we do in a nutshell is give people the opportunity to connect with animals, mostly horses, but also with our other animals as well, our small red barn animals. But what we do is essentially give riding lessons to people at their level and give them the opportunity to come out and enjoy something that maybe they would never think to be able to enjoy. We have 20 horses, from small little guys that give the tiny kids rides up to some of our big, great big horses that give the bigger riders the opportunity to succeed. We have 15 regular employees that work with us on a regular basis throughout the week. And some of them are animal caretakers that do the day-to-day taking care of the animals. But our main people that you see is our instructors. And our instructors are certified through an agency called PATH. That's the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship. And each one goes through a rigorous process of learning not only how to deal with the horses, but how to deal with our riders and help them get the best out of their riding lesson. Most of our lessons are what we call semi-private lessons. So there are generally 2 riders per class, but we'd also do small groups with the riders that are a little more advanced and can work in those little bit bigger groups than just the 2 per instructor. But we also do many other things besides just our regular riding lessons. We have our groups that come out that are our school groups and senior tours, and just basically working with the community to come out and enjoy being around those horses and those animals. We also offer pony rides to the community once a month, where the little ones can come out and just kind of see firsthand what it's like to be around the animals. And many of them start their journey with horses with that first little pony ride. We have summer camps that we do every year. We also, our riders that are interested in it get to participate in Special Olympics, where they practice all throughout the year. And then generally in the fall, we go to the Special Olympics, and they get to show off their skills and perform out in Rockford. We also offer birthday parties and to the community where, again, those little guys come out and just have a good time learning about the horses and celebrating with their friends. And a new thing that we started just in the past couple months is our social groups that it is for those that maybe might be apprehensive for getting on the horse or being, up on the horse, or, maybe just want to hang out with their friends and still be around the horses. And we are very pleased with how that's taken off. We've seen amazing relationships blossom in that program. And we are just really excited about that. We started out with 2 or 3 people, and we are now up to over 6 people. So we're very excited for that, and we're looking to expand that and do more unmounted social groups, if you will. So that kind of is a nutshell what we do over at the barn. There's a lot of other little fun stuff, but I could talk all day about the horses and the animals, but I will save you guys that joy. But thank you for joining us today. And if you get a chance, come on over to the Hansen Center Horsemanship and take a look around at the animals and see what fun stuff we have going on.
Thank you, Leah. Yes, I never thought in my career I'd be signing invoices for dental care for horses, but it's something new. It's exciting, and I'm learning a lot from Leah. So the 6th and final department of CFSS is our Gateway SRA, our Special Rec Association. Ryan Massengill is our superintendent of this program. Like I said, she's actually running a program as we speak, so she couldn't be here tonight. So I told her I would briefly go over her slides. I don't want to run over our time here, but Gateway, our SRA, is kind of housed out of our Hansen Center out in Burr Ridge. That's where their offices are. And Ryan and her team run all kinds of activities, meaningful activities for people with different types of disabilities and diagnoses. It was formed through a program, and it was 9 communities that got together. There's villages and park districts that are all part of that. Now, even though you could be a non-resident, just kind of like your regular park district, it would be for a different fee, but so it's for residents and non-residents. And I was just pulling up to my office the other day, and they were loading up. They had a field trip that people signed up to go see the city skyline and go to Lincoln Park Zoo. And I tried to be a castaway and get in the vehicle, but they didn't let me on. So, but they're always doing something fun and exciting, everything from bocce ball to sports and trips and stuff. So they do have brochures, kind of similar to a park district, seasonal brochures, recreation guides, they call them. The fall one, the winter and spring one, and the summer one. The fall one just went out at the beginning of September. So there's just a little list here. I'm not going to go through all, but you can see all the different things they do and some of the pictures. But it's a really exciting department under the Ray Graham umbrella. So we're excited to have Gateway Special Rec as part of our group in CFSS. So I think that's the last of our slides. Wow, I think we went a few minutes over, everybody, but I will throw it back to Sharon and Karen now. Thank you, team CFSS. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, team, and for everybody that's listening. Again, when COVID hit, when everybody was packing up to go home, this team was packing and coming to work and trying to figure out how do we build the bridge until we can get back to what we were used to. We don't know how that will look like, but we are still on that bridge trying to, get back to pre-COVID times. But again, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of flexibility for us to navigate all the many factors and to keep people safe. But I have to really say the team continues to show resilience every day, and we are really appreciative. So, if you had asked if we could be offering our services through a computer, we would have said there's no way you can do that. And actually, when we did that for a special rec, some people laughed at the beginning. They're like, what do you mean you're going to do camp through virtual services? And then all of a sudden it became a thing, and everybody was calling us saying, can you tell us what you are doing with that thing again? And now it's just how we do business. So we are really excited. I'm going to now turn this over to Kelly, who is our director for our residential services. So Kelly, it's all you.
Thank you. I'm going to try to speak as fast as I can while also making sure that everybody understands what I'm saying and let you know all the exciting things that have been going on in our Community Living Resources Department. Catherine owes me about 14 minutes, so I'll make sure that I get those 14 minutes back from her at a later point in time. Sharon, can you pull the PowerPoint up for me? So I am Kelly Stummy, and I have the amazing pleasure of being the director of our Community Living Resources Department, which is a really long way of saying all things residential services for people that receive services here at Ray Graham Association. While Sharon kind of pulls up that PowerPoint, I'll just note that everything that CFSS just talked about, those are things that people that receive residential services from us also participate in. The Gateway Special Rec, horsemanship, home-based services, CLS. So it's not just, you can only kind of get a service over here. If you receive residential services from us at Ray Graham, you can enjoy all of the other things that we just learned about as well. We have about 27 different houses where people receive residential services throughout all of DuPage County, which is about 152 people. We had 2 new people just move in the other day, so I have to get used to adjusting my data there. I'm not always used to it, but so of course, and I think Karen alluded to this when COVID hit, we had to shift immediately. And we shifted, I think about 4 times, but it might be more than 4 times because we really wanted to make sure that we kept people safe. And if you remember at the beginning of the pandemic, not everybody was sure exactly what was going on. So we shifted one where we made sure we didn't have our team members cross over anywhere. And then we shifted again to kind of minimize that coming and going even more. And then we shifted, the most massive one was when we did stay in place, where we had our amazing team members live in our homes with the folks that they were supporting for anywhere up to, a lot of folks did it a full 14 weeks, gave up their own home lives to come and just stay in the homes because they felt that that was safest for the people that they were supporting, which is just amazing. And then after it got to that point, we rolled out of it. We learned a lot about how you can't just flip a switch and, change your staff plan right away. You've got to shift up and shift down. So it was a lot of learning as we go. We do consider ourselves experts now. And even right now, we have a couple different staff models that we operate just to make sure that it works for the folks that live in the home, because there's not one size fits all. Because people were in the homes and it was a point before vaccines where things were pretty unsafe, we really wanted to make sure people had things to do in their homes. It's not very easy for those of us too, where you are home with your family 24/7, eating, working, living, and doing recreation activities all with the same group of people. So we wanted to make sure that it was fun for people, that they could do different things, that they had some kind of time away from each other. And our team just did an amazing job coming up with different activities. We really, really leaned on our team, and we built some really amazing relationships with each other. Our team members went through a lot of things, that people who receive our services went through a lot of things. There was a lot of crying, there was a lot of happiness, there was a lot of learning, there was a lot of growing. There were a lot of starts and stops, as everybody has mentioned, but we kind of did that all together and really strengthened that team, which is just amazing. When I sit with our core group and think back about it, we get very overwhelmed with the emotion that we feel because everybody just did such an amazing job. And then strengthen relationships with families. Some folks went home with families. Some folks stayed with us and couldn't see their families, but we had to try to find ways to keep people connected. Zoom worked for a lot of people, but maybe that didn't work for some people. Backyard visits, any sort of thing we could do to kind of keep people connected, but also make sure we were communicating with families about what was going on with a person. So we can kind of make sure that they felt people were having a good time as much as they could, while also recognizing times are different and we can't pretend that this is not different and this is not difficult, but figuring out how to support everybody through that. And the families, many of you are on this call, were so supportive of us, having food delivered, having games delivered, reaching out to our team members and letting them know how appreciative you were of all the things that they were doing to keep their family members safe. And we appreciate that, because when they hear it directly from families, it just means so much more than when we say it on a day-to-day basis. And then the other thing we did, and we thought this was going to be rough for people, which people just prove us wrong all the time, which is fine. We thought getting back into the swing of going to day services outside of the house was going to be difficult, just because people were used to maybe having a slower morning, maybe not wearing pants, and leaving the house to go do things during the day every day. But I mean, folks were up and at 'em and out the door and ready to go and ready to greet the folks at day services. And it just happened so seamlessly, and we were amazed by that. Sharon, if you can switch to the next one. So in that period of time while we were creating day services in the house, we had so much creativity come out, and I just could not miss the opportunity to explain a little bit of that. I could talk for 30 hours about all the fun things that went on, but just some of the great ones was there was an indoor camping trip where there's a picture of, which is just my favorite, because they went camping indoors. They, of course, didn't really roast marshmallows indoors, but they built this indoor campfire, and the men that did it had such a fun time with their team members, and the team members loved it as well. There was a fashion show. People learned how to cook and bake all sorts of new things. A lot of crafts went on. People learned that they loved gardening. I learned I'm not very good at gardening. Different forms of exercise, different types of Zoom visits. We went to every park in DuPage County and the surrounding counties to get outside and see something different, but do it safely. We rediscovered our backyards and made sure that we did as much as we possibly could outside. One, because it was safer, and two, it was a different space than where you're in all the time. A lot of our day services team members joined us in folks' homes, and they had to learn so many different things about what goes on in people's homes. But then in return, we learned a lot about different activities and kind of had a new, fresh idea on other things as well too. So that was a great opportunity for our team to come together. It was really fun. Nervous for everybody across the board because it was different, but once we kind of all settled in, it was a really great time to get to know different folks. Another thing we saw is that a lot of people that receive our services, they took on some really great leadership roles. There's one woman, Leanne, who learned about Zoom, and she felt that she should take it on and teach people about Zoom 101, so everyone knew how to mute and where to find and how to put funny things on your head when you're in a meeting to kind of keep people engaged. And that was a great class that she taught. And then another young man who also receives residential services still teaches a sign language class to some folks that receive services and our team members as well too. I know Cassie, who's on this, participates in it with her kids to kind of learn about that. So that was really great, just people stepping up and taking on a leadership role and doing things that maybe they wouldn't have had the opportunity in the past just because of the circumstances in front of us. Sharon, can you go to the next slide? This one, I think, there we go. We felt that it would be an amazing time to open 4 new homes in the middle of a pandemic while we were trying to keep people as safe as possible, but we did it, and we did it really well. We have 4 houses, one in West Chicago, Bensenville, Crestwood, and Highland. We had been planning to do this. We just did not plan to do it in the middle of a pandemic, but we weren't going to let that keep us down. And we made it happen, and we made it happen safely. And it was so fun to see folks that had previously lived in another one of our residential settings come see their new homes. And the homes had all been completely renovated with the specific needs of the folks that were moving into it. Some of the people that moved were able to have their own bedrooms, and they never had their own bedroom before. Or the other big thing is we're able to have a full-size bed and had not had that before. So that was a lot of fun for us to kind of see people on the flip side. It was very difficult for folks that they were leaving. We were fortunate to be on the happy side as they kind of came into their new homes. But we also had a lot of those team members that worked with them previously join us in CLR as well too, which was great because they helped us get to know people, and then folks felt much more comfortable in their new environments because they had team members that knew them really well, helping them throughout their days. Sharon? And then I put on here, we started some new projects because we just felt like it would be a good time to throw some more out there and work on it. I'm going to talk about 2 of them, and I'm going to have Cassie talk about the other 2 because it's more her wheelhouse and how she spends most of her time. One is My 25, and it is in pilot right now at 6 of our houses. And that is a nutrition plant program that we work through where they really go into a specific house and they talk with the people that live there. They talk with their team members to find out what people's nutrition needs are and their preferences. And then they help them put together a really good menu. And the fun part about it is they have recipes and videos to help people learn how to make those meals. There's a picture here of Leanne making a meal. They send us pictures all the time of the things that they've made, and it way is better than anything that I've ever made. But they're having a really good time with it. We're only a couple months into it, but it is a computer-based system. So it took, people had to learn kind of that piece of the technology and access to that as well too. But already we've had some really great outcomes. I know some folks will very proudly tell you how much weight they've lost. I will not share that because it's people's private information, but they're really seeing that there's a connection and it leads to better health outcomes. So we're so excited. And we've really only been doing it for a very short while. The other one is also a technology database thing where it's not fully up and running, which is TheraP, which I won't go into the details of all of it. But when we're through all of it, it will be a direct communication with all of our houses to all of our team members. So if Sharon is at this house over here and she needs to let me know that Cassie has to go to the doctor and here's the date it's scheduled, we'll get real-time communication. It'll be all in a database in one spot. The team members that provide day services will be able to go in there and see all of that same communication as well. So it will really make our jobs a lot easier while also assuring that our communication is really tight and people get it more in real time without that delay that happens because there are so many of us, we kind of have to get it together. Cassie, then do you want to go ahead with HRST and the health resume?
Absolutely, thanks Kelly. So I'm Cassie Murtis. I am an assistant director here in our Community Living Resources Department. And I will be brief. I'll just talk quickly about two things that we have taken on over the past year and a half that are really designed to help improve health outcomes for people. The first is the HRST, or the Health Risk Screening Tool. So that is a predictive tool that is it's designed to help us predict future illnesses or injuries for people. So the Qs invest a lot of time entering really good information into the system, and then it will predict a score for you for each person who receives our services. And based on that score, it is a predictor of future possible health issues. So as a result of it, you can print up service and training considerations, and you can use that to try to prevent future health issues. And you can take those considerations to someone's physician to help improve health outcomes for people. So it's a very, very nice tool. And it's really helping us make sure we provide the best possible supports to people related to health. The other one is the health resume. So we have been working on this for quite a while. We had a lot of conversations with some targeted families and people who receive our services, specifically about their experiences when they go to the emergency room or when there's a health concern. So we developed the health resume, which is a tool that provides information about people who receive our services, and it will go to physicians. So it's not so much for someone's primary care physician who knows them well or specialists who they routinely work with, although it can be used for that. It's also used for when people are admitted to the hospital, when they're in a rehab setting, something like that, where the doctors and physicians working with them don't know them as well. So it contains a lot of personal health information, but it also contains information about how the person communicates best. Or are there tips and tricks that can help the person feel more comfortable? Perhaps they're scared of things that might happen in a medical setting. So it has all that information. The screenshot you see here is a paper version, but the end goal is for it to be digital so that it can be pulled up no matter where the person is. And we're currently partnering with Edwards Elmhurst Health and DuPage Medical Group to have that information digitally available for people. So again, two different projects that'll really help improve health outcomes for people.
Thanks, Cassie. Then I just put in here kind of some other things that we have on the horizon where there's a lot, and I didn't want to throw it all on here and overwhelm everybody, but just a couple things that we're working on. One thing is Operation Pollination, where we've got a couple houses identified that get, I'm going to forget the logistics, but really good sun. outside where gardens would flourish. And if we put I am not a gardener, as I mentioned earlier, specific types of flowers, that this will help with pollination, which just helps the world in general. I am paraphrasing it very minimally because I'm a city person, but we've got some houses where, and there's a garden club group that is supporting us with this project, but some houses that get some really good light, and some folks that live in those houses that are really interested in something like this, so they can kind of take it on and take care of it and do all of the watering and stay on top of it and enjoy that, while also helping the environment. And again, we'll start small and then kind of grow it, but we kind of got to get our footing with that. So that'll be coming soon. We've done a lot of work, and we continue to do a lot of work with really making sure people are in environments that work for them, which was super highlighted when people were in their homes 24/7 and not able to go do a lot of things out of the house. So we really want to focus on, are folks in homes that are working for them, and are they living with folks that they want to be living with? And I just mentioned that because that's something that kind of we're always looking at across the board. So as opportunities come up where we think might be better for folks and it might get them closer to their vision, we're always kind of keeping an eye on that and making sure that if Karen lives in a house that has stairs and she's having difficulty with stairs, let's focus on that now before it's a big issue later on down the road and we don't have so many choices. So we're really spending a lot of time working on that. And then of course, slowly and safely getting closer to normal, which I have some just more recent pictures here of activities that we were able to safely do. The first one is a group that every year they go and do a paranormal activity at Ashmore Estates, and they do hunt for ghosts. And we have one of our team members, Bill Balin, has a really great partnership with the company that does it. And they were able to allow just our group to go, so there wouldn't be other folks there, so we could make sure we do it safely. They spend the night, there's ghosts and special equipment, and it's not my thing, but they always have a great time and they love it. And then we had a group that was able to, every year there's a man who hosts a rooftop party at the Chicago Cubs, and he wasn't able to do it last year, but this year he was able to do it safely. And they felt public transportation wouldn't be safe, so they took a limousine there because that was one more fun, probably got there quicker, and it was more safe for them. And then still a lot of outdoor activities because we've got warm weather on our side right now. So we're out and about quite a bit more now, and we're really excited about that because it starts to feel a little bit more like, okay, this is normal. We can do the things that we like to do. We have to put some things in place to keep it safe, but we can still do most of the things that everybody wants to do. I think that is all that I have right now.
Thank you, Kelly and Cassie. That's like really some great things that we want to highlight. And for everybody that's attending, some of the things that Kelly spoke about involves our specialized living center. That was our intermediate care facility that we actually had planned to close, but we did not plan to do it during the pandemic. So actually when we put in motion to close the facility, then COVID hit, but we still had to get people to move. And again, the amazing team we have found a way, even when things were closed, to be able to move forward. Some of the things that, again, we have learned because of COVID and us not being able to go anywhere is telehealth, people having the doctors through telehealth. And the biggest thing that we learned that was so heartbreaking for us, and we still, dealing with a lot of emotions and things that we couldn't control, is when people were sick and they had to go to the hospital, they had to be alone, we couldn't be there. And that is where our health resume really comes through, because we want to make sure if ever, and if this is our environment, the people we support can be able to have some sort of advocacy where if I'm alone, people know who I am. If I can't talk, they know how to support me. So we are very proud of that opportunity to be able to make sure people are really safe. When you listen to the things that we've been able to do, you can really say we are, flying a plane without a pilot's license. We had to be resourceful. We had to figure out what we had to do. And we didn't have a lot of option to say we can do it. And it's because of the resourcefulness of the team that we've really been able to emerge on the other side. We've been able to keep people safe. But one of the things that I really want to emphasize, all of this has been possible because of our team. Our team moved into our homes. Some people have to 8 to 12 weeks. And without our team, we truly couldn't have done it. And one of the things we want to talk about tonight, and we are focusing on, is with the staffing crisis we have and retention issues, how do we truly keep this amazing team here? Because right now they can walk away and there are opportunities everywhere. So Kathy Lamazny is one of a sister to somebody we support. She's a guardian, but she's also a member of our advocacy committee. One of the things that COVID has taught us is to really, that sense of community and really supporting each other. And one of the things we are really focusing on is our team retention and making sure we have a stable workforce, because God forbid there was another COVID, that's the only thing that gets you through. It's not policy, it's not procedures, it's not everything you have, it is your team. And that is a one lesson that we learned. So we've been talking about many initiatives and many ways to be able to make sure we have our team here, because we've learned with everybody here and all those you can see, we can do anything. Has it been easy? No, it's been tough. It's been hard. It's exhausting. We got to test freedom for a little bit, and then freedom was taken away. So we almost feel like we are backwards. But again, we have a team that is really willing and able to move forward. So I'm going to call on to Kathy, just talk a little bit about some of the things we are doing for our team. If she speaks to you, we would like for you to join us to really do whatever it takes to keep our team here, because our team has kept us safe. Our team has been moving our mission forward, and it's our team that's going to get us through the next hurdle that we don't know what it is. So Kathy, if you are able to unmute yourself, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay, Karen?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. That's a picture of my grandson and their puppy. I don't know why my picture isn't there, but he's much more handsome than I am, so that's great. Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Lamazny, better known as Tom Nealon's sister, and Tom resides over at the View Street. And I've been a member of the advocacy committee, which Karen has so graciously led us all for a few years now, and I really, really enjoy it. And I'd like to make a plea for anybody who thinks they might have a little time. It's not much time. We meet, I think, every few months for a couple hours. We've been doing it on Zoom during the pandemic, but it's a great way to stay in touch with Ray Graham and to give back and to make sure that you have a good understanding of what's going on in your loved one's life. And I really enjoyed it. And the last time we had a meeting, we spoke about what we could do to try to combat some of the fatigue, especially from the virus, and to boost the staff morale of the people that work for RGA and support all of our loved ones. And some of the ideas we came up with would be maybe once a month to provide a meal or a treat for the house. And I think we'd find a way to get this information to everybody, but maybe to acknowledge birthdays and anniversaries of people that work there, like a little recognition, phone calls to encourage the team. Maybe you speak with them by email or text or however you communicate with them. And just anything that you can do that would help us retain the good people that we have. There's many of them and we don't want to see them go someplace else. And they've been working really, really, really hard, and we owe them a big debt of gratitude. So any way that you can let them know you're thinking about them, that you are grateful for what they do, that you appreciate what they do, and that you're in this with them. And you give your support any way you can. Karen?
Thank you so much, Kathy. I couldn't say that better. So if anybody is interested in connecting, you can reach out to either the program director, anybody on here, the queue, and they will give us the information and we'll be able to move forward. When things like COVID hit, a lot of people start to wonder, what's the stability of my organization? Are we okay? Where are we at? And as you know, when COVID hit, we had to close some of our programs. some of our programs are actually fee for service. That means if nobody came through that door, we did not get paid. That also means our team members, we had that hard decision of, do you lay off your team and then hopefully they'll come back. And we made the hard decision and the brave decision to keep our team because we know how valuable they are. And we understood if we let them go, we may never, ever, ever get them back. So we took some really, really hard calculated risks that we felt were necessary. And while we are still digging out of that, I know most of you would want to know, how are we doing? How can we support? How did we survive that? So I'm going to invite our CFO, Kamal Cook, to give you just a little brief overview of how this journey has been like, and all the fun things she's had with PPP and every other P that has been thrown onto us. So Kamal, it's all you.
Am I properly unmuted? Got that right. Good evening. I am Carmel Cook. I'm the Chief Financial Officer here at Ray Graham. And actually, as of yesterday, I've been with Ray Graham for 17 years now. Each of those years has provided unique opportunities and challenges. The 15 months ending this past June were certainly the most challenging in our history. From the financial perspective, there were plenty of lost revenues, mainly due to day services, because obviously residential folks were still with us. And a lot of the residential programs had to be closed for times, and then some were open, some weren't. And even when they were open, folks were still reluctant to return at full force because of all the uncertainty. Even on the residential side, though, we did lose revenues in that a lot of people decided to have their family members come home, and they were home for extended stays. And once it goes past 60 days, the way our funding works, the state doesn't pay us anymore. We still have to pay our mortgages, we have to still pay our team members, all those things still continue, but there's none of that funding coming in. And then expenses obviously were up as well with new expenses, got to the world of PPE that we're all very familiar with, the scrambling of just trying to find the PPE and obtain it. And we literally were picking up PPE. We were doing deals like behind the Hobby Lobby and, some strip mall, and somebody had stuff and you were buying stuff, just trying to get things so that we could continue our safe practices. And it really, really adds up when you consider the amount of folks we're supporting and how many times you'd have to change those kind of things on a daily basis. Additionally, we had to figure out how to work remotely. So we bought a lot of technology to support that, whether it was for kind of the financial team, the support team. We had to do it for that, but we also did it on the programmatic side again, so folks could still be connected with their family members and be on an iPad and FaceTime, so that connection could continue, so that they could still have time with their friends in another home, even though they weren't maybe mixing homes. They were actually able to use technology to support that. We were fortunate to receive grant funding for a lot of the additional kind of COVID expenses. And I don't, for organizations that weren't able to obtain them, I don't know how they made it through. We were very fortunate, and it has helped our bottom line for sure. We have always operated fairly conservatively, and so we were able to weather the storm with respect to cash flow, but we definitely took a hit. There's no escaping that. When your revenues are down and your expenses are up, there's not enough grant funding to bridge that gap. So we'll obviously be working to build that back up. We're currently in fiscal year 22. So that began on July 1st, it ends June 30th, 22. And I'm sure some of you have heard of the Guidehouse Rate Study, hopefully. So the state commissioned this independent organization to determine what rates the state should be paying for services like the ones Ray Graham provides. I was recently in a meeting with some legislators and the director of developmental disabilities. And one of the comments that was made was, we can't wait to see a time when, roads aren't built unless there's a bake sale to continue the funding, right? Why is it just that our folks have to work on all the additional fundraising to make the gaps meet? Why is that considered okay in the norm? Unfortunately, it is what it is, and we do what we can do to bridge that gap, but it's not always easy, as you know. So they commissioned this group to figure out what they should pay. I can tell you that when I first started, again, 17 years ago, I think it was probably 15 years ago that the state had commissioned the University of Illinois to do a similar study. And they got the rate study back then and said that we were being paid 75 cents on the dollar for SILA funding. Absolutely nothing happened with that. So they paid very large amount of money to have it done, and then it just sat on the shelf. It's like, ooh, that's gonna be a lot of money. So it sat on the shelf and nothing changed. So when we were asked to give information so that the study could be done, we were a little, like, okay, hopefully something's gonna happen with this. And actually it did, which is remarkable. In the past, when we kind of gone to legislators and said, we need this increase or that, ultimately the question would come back to us and say, okay, overall, what's the cost of that? And really nobody knew. And so that's a hard ask, right? How are they going to make a change when they don't even know ultimately what it's going to cost? So having the study completed, we now know exactly what it's going to cost. And so it's difficult for the legislators to ignore. And like I said, it worked. So the budget for the Division of Developmental Disabilities was increased for this fiscal year by $170 million. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but to put it in perspective, the Guidehouse study recommended $329 million investment for this first year. So the way this is playing out, it's about a half-year increase. The state is hoping that that increase will start in January. However, they have to receive approval on the federal side in order to do that. And that process can take a long time. So January might be a little aggressive, but we are hoping that they will get it done in time. The division is very, very much trying to push it forward and get done whatever it has to do in order to make the process move smoothly. I can tell you that, again, 17 years here, I've never seen the division more willing to work with providers. It always felt like it was an adversarial position between the division and providers, like nothing like a partnership. And now it is more of a partnership. There's a lot more transparency with the state. They invite us to give input before decisions are made. In the past, literally the decision would just come out and we'd get a memo, and then there'd be all this pushback, and then sometimes they take some of it back. It was very dysfunctional. And so it is much better these days where I feel like they're listening and they're trying to get things done. The rate study, it's not just about, an X amount increase. It's about kind of trying to use the money that we have in the best way to support people. And so there's different mechanisms, and I won't get into all the nuts and bolts of it, but there's different mechanisms in there that's going to make it improve services because they're going to fund certain things that are very much in alignment with the way Ray Graham thinks, kind of where that money should go. So, well, again, we're hoping that it'll be done for January. We're not sure, but we know it is coming. The legislature has said, you know, designated the funds for the budget. We just now have to figure out how it's actually all going to fall through. I think the outlook, it's a very, as everybody here I think has said, it's a very strange time. And when you think of kind of what Ray Graham had planned, yes, we did plan to close the SLC. We knew that we were gonna, you know, the SLC was certainly not a moneymaker, and we knew in the process of closing we'd be losing money. We didn't know that that was going to be compounded by doing it in a pandemic. So we knew we were kind of going to take that hit, and then we take the pandemic hit. But shockingly, the other side of that is this rate study now, where we're getting funding, hopefully, that's going to start to bring us up to where we should be in a more significant way than we've ever seen. The one caveat I want to bring up as far as needing your continued advocacy is this study recommendation is for 4 years out. And as I just said, they didn't really fund the first year fully, right? They did half, but that should like be 3/4 of what we need for next year. But then there's another investment that the rate study is suggesting for the following year. So we will need, you know, your support again, advocating so that legislators get educated that there's more of an investment required, because talking to them now, there's sort of been this, you know, little blip out there that the Guidehouse rate study was fully funded and people have checked it off their list and they've moved on. And so we have to keep advocating that, no, you have to fully fund it. That's 4-year investment that goes on, and it has mechanisms in there then that's going to trigger for increases that we've never had before. So if minimum wage goes up, there's now a mechanism that will kick in where we'll get more money, which we currently don't have. As minimum wage goes up, there's not anything in our contract that says that they have to pay us anymore. So we have to pay team members more to keep up pace, but we don't get any funding. So again, we will need your advocacy, but I think it really is a bright spot in coming out of kind of a dark time with COVID and everything. So that's all I have for you this evening. I appreciate you attending and for not falling asleep during the finance portion. I didn't even see any yawns or anything, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carmel. I think if there's anything that we can take from that report is the Guidehouse rate study. Part of that is also wages. And as you can know, right now with the staffing crisis, we try very hard to stay competitive. But when Amazon is throwing $3,000 bonus and $22 an hour and no need for a background check, we become at a real disadvantage, because people can just walk and do some job. So this is a job for somebody who really, it's their reason, you know, to work is more than a check, you know, it's to make a difference. And it's those people that we are looking for. And hopefully with this new budget, we'll be able to start getting some traction with that. Talking about, you know, where we are, again, hopefully you feel comfortable even with everything that we've suffered, that we're still steady and we are stable and trying to dig ourselves out of, you know, where we were, not because of any of our choosing, but we feel very confident. A lot of families have returned. We've gotten a lot of new people coming to our programs. We have a lot of people looking for services. So we continue to position ourselves into the future. I'm going now to introduce someone who we always go to when we want money. We just go to him and tell him, go shake a tree somewhere, get us something. And Mark Langen is our Chief Development Officer and leads the development department. And so he'll tell you a lot of things that we are doing. And then after that, we'll be talking to our HR director, Russ, and then we'll introduce a new member of our exec team. So Mark, if you want to go ahead. Mark, are you on mute?
Yep, here we go. Now I got it. Sorry for the delay. I'm going to change a little bit because we're running late. So I'm going to be just hit some highlights and talk a little bit about those things. First of all, I want to thank all of those families because as the team just talked about, we couldn't have done half the things we wanted to do during the pandemic without you. You brought meals, you brought games, you supported the homes, you helped our DSPs, you helped our team members and our team leads and our Qs. You did wonderful things to support us. And as you know, as you hear people talk about our programs, the things I say all the time is to meet the people who we serve, you can't help but love them and want to support Ray Graham financially. But so much of this work wouldn't get done without our team. You know, as we were talking about some of the successes over the last 2 years to bring you up to speed, you know, the health resume started 2 years ago, and that came out of our CLR team working every day and realizing what was going on and trying to figure out how they can improve services, and the CFSS team having the same challenges and trying to figure out how people could get help. So then a number of people put our heads together and asked for this grant. If things go well with this grant, we're headed towards having an app that you can go into a doctor's office, they'll scan the app and have the history of your loved one so that their diagnosis will be better, so that any hospital stay they have will be reduced. It's all good news. So those things all come out of our team doing the groundwork and then the fundraising department getting together and working with them. A couple other things that have come up along those same lines. Carmel Cook talked about it a little bit. We got a number of IT grants. We had 3 IT grants that came up during COVID that supported our virtual programming, that put iPads in each one of the homes. Those are all positives that happened because of help we've gotten. COVID was hard for fundraising. We didn't raise as much funds as we usually do. The good news is the direct fundraising that was hurt by people losing their jobs or their individual circumstance hurt them. Other families made up a lot of the gap. The grants made up a lot of the gap. We were under when it all came to be said and done the prior year, but we were in the ballpark. So that was all great news. And now, you know, we're back to the next step. What do? We need to continue to go and do great things, and we can't do it without your help. So I'm going to cut to the chase and add just 2 quick things about what we need from you and how you can help. I get people ask me all the time, how can I help? Here's how you can help. Host a party. Tell your Ray Graham Association story. Tell why you support Ray Graham and why you love us. And then ask the people that come to that party to support us financially. Be a volunteer, help us get things done. Adopt a horse. Who could have more fun than adopting a horse? How would you like to have a horse for a year that you can go out and hang out with? And you can bring Catherine. I think by the end of the year, we can get Catherine on our horse. That's our goal. Adopt a house. Many of you have loved ones who live in a home and you say, boy, they could really use some nice blinds or some of this or some of that. Maybe you adopt that house and we put together a master plan for that home and we move that home forward. Let's think about that. And another thing is join a committee. You know, we have all these committees that do fun things. We have the butterfly balls coming up in 2 months. The walk is happening next Sunday. The single best event that we have all year is the walk. We get to see the people we serve outside having fun. And this year we're going outside because of COVID, but it's going to be a blast. It's a big dance party. It's just a day of celebrating what is Ray Graham. So I encourage you to be a part of that. So that's just 5 simple things you can do. 2 other things. join the President's Circle. The President's Circle is about two things. Number one, it's gifts $1,000 and up. Those gifts are critical to us. When we have to put $1 million into capital every year, that has to come from help we need from the people that we serve, loved ones, families, and their supporters. $1,000 or more a year, and you also get 4 letters a year from Kim Zeller telling you what's going on. What's happening behind the scenes? What are our struggles? What are the good things happening? We want to make sure you, as one of our premier donors, understands what is happening at Ray Graham and how we can serve your loved ones better. And finally, I'm going to ask you, please give. We need the help, folks. As I said, PPP and all these other things helped a lot, but they left us a little short of prior years. So we need some help. So if you'd be kind enough to donate to Ray Graham and keep us in your thoughts, we know some of you are going through some challenges, and we're grateful for the support we've received over this last 18 months of just tough situations. Please keep us in mind. And again, thank you for all your support. Nothing is better than the way our families are supported by us and their loved ones together to make the quality of life be wonderful. So that's my 2 seconds. Karen, back to you.
Thank you, Mark. I think that was very impactful. I don't have to say anything, but together we are stronger. And if everybody took part in whichever way you are able to do, volunteer, if you can give, show up at the walk and greet people, tell people the Ray Graham story. That's how we are stronger. So when people talk about other organizations and how they are strong and what they are able to do, it is because of the engagement. So we do not want to have bystanders. We want everybody to find a way, whichever way you can do, even if it's calling our team and saying thank you, because when they don't leave, then we don't have to worry about paying extra for recruitment and all that. So I am going to turn this over to Russ, who is our HR director, who has been working through these tough times to keep our team engaged, motivated, and also trying to recruit in a virtual world. So Russ, if you want to unmute yourself, and go ahead. I think you're muted, Russ.
I know you missed all the good parts.
I know we did.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Russ Brondike. I have been with Ray Graham for almost 4 years, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it, working with a wonderful group of people. Our department really focuses on 4 things: recruiting, hiring, counseling, and training. We do many other things. In fact, this past year, as you heard a lot about, we worked with the whole COVID crisis. And I just got to say, when I was jotting down some notes, when we first started this, we didn't know what we were doing along with everyone else in the country. And I remember going out, looking in Bolingbrook at the first test site for COVID testing, because we didn't know of where there were test sites. But we spent a lot of time working on procedures, looking for COVID sites. We ran a number of clinics at RGA for vaccines, and setting up procedures and buying some software that would help us track information on our employees that may have been tested or had COVID, where we could stay in touch with them to find out how they were doing. And we've come a long way, and we have a good handle on who is sick and what symptoms they have. We send out self-assessments twice a month to all of our employees, asking them to complete the assessment on how they're feeling, whether they've been traveling, things like that. So we've worked really hard with the programs. The programs have worked really hard on getting information to try to keep everyone safe. So I spent a lot of time doing that. The other piece that I've worked on and my team has worked on is what you heard tonight, is the staffing shortage. It is really, in my 40 years of recruiting and hiring and being in HR, I've never seen it like this. And but we will continue to work, and we have program directors that continue to push us to work harder at recruiting. But we've done everything. We've tried radio, advertising, we push employee referrals, we work on we post on Facebook and LinkedIn. The latest thing we've been doing is calling previous employees and contacting them personally and asking them if they would be interested in returning to RGA. So that will be a continued effort. We will work really hard at filling these positions, and we'll always continue to do that. Our main goal is really to be a support function and to support our programs, and in turn support the people that use our programs. So that's all I have, and I'll turn it back over to Karen.
Thank you so much, Russ. And I know Russ kind of understates, the amount of work that he and his department does to keep us safe. We've really been trying very hard to do contact tracing, and the issue about recruiting is real. And I think a while back you received an appeal from us asking you to be a recruiter for us. And with everything that the department has done and all the radio, everything else, we believe the personalized approaches work best. So if you know people who are looking for work, if you have nephews, nieces, your own family members, please tell them why they should work at Ray Graham Association and help us to build a strong and steady workforce. Because as we say, our team, our greatest resource. We can have everything going, but we don't have the whole to move our mission forward. Really, we can't accomplish that. I'm going to introduce someone who is now our new exec team. I think I'm going to slaughter his title, so I'll just have Ted introduce himself, and he will tell you what his role will be within the organization and things like that. So Ted, if you can hear me and you can unmute yourself, please go ahead. I think if Ted is speaking, he's still muted. So we'll give him a minute. Okay, I don't think it's working. So, okay, here you go. Go ahead,
All right,
Ted.
here we go. All right, how's that?
You're good.
Good, okay. All right, thanks, Karen, for inviting me to talk a little bit about what I do, and good evening, everyone. My name is Ted Gonzora, and I'm the Director of Property Operations and Procurement. Procurement's basically just another word for purchasing. I came to work for Ray Graham Association about 2 months ago, and I have a background previously about 23 years in the long-term care retirement home, organization. I oversee all the day-to-day maintenance and upkeep of all our properties and centers and stuff with my maintenance team. I also oversee all the purchasing and transportation fleet. I have got a couple of people, staff members that oversee that. We've got over 80 vehicles. So they take care of all the purchasing and procurement of the fleet and the vehicles and stuff. So also I oversee like renovations. We've got a lot of renovations going on at a lot of the homes and our centers and stuff. I'll keep this short and sweet because I know we're running late on time. One of the ones, a big one that's going on is at the Hansen Center with the horsemanship program. We're working on some renovations there and drainage project because I guess we're having some flooding in the areas up there around the stables and stuff. So we're working on that. And also in several of the homes, we're doing various stages of upgrades, everything from bedrooms to bathrooms to flooring, you name it. So basically that's kind of in a nutshell. I know we're short for time here, so I'll just throw it back to you, Karen.
Thank you very much, Ted. So those of you on the call, when you hear the name Ted, now you know who he is. And he alluded to something that I think I should update everyone. A while back, we had done a project fixer-upper for our Hanson Center to remediate some issues that were going on there. And I'm happy to report in another year, we really hope we'll be able to make some significant improvements to those to that property. So hopefully we'll have some celebration and COVID will be gone and we can have a get together over there. So we thank you for the support that you gave us, and we will keep you updated. You should have gotten some communication telling you the many things that we are doing. I think we are getting very close to the end of our session. We really, really want to thank you for spending time with us. We are going to now unmute, and if anybody has a question, we'll give you the opportunity to speak, to make a comment, whatever you want to say. And if we run out of time, just make sure you know we are available. And when we say 24/7, we are available 24/7 if there's anything we can help you with. So we are going to unmute and see if there are any questions, answers, questions, and then we'll go from there. Sharon, if you want to see their questions or people who have their hands raised up, I can see.
Currently, everyone is unmuted. Diane, you have your hand up. Feel free. Diane, I think you're still on mute. I'll ask you to unmute and then feel free to ask your question.
Now?
Go right ahead, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We just want to, Mandy Makoviak and family, want to thank everyone for everything you've done. We are so proud to be part of Ray Graham family. And big, big, big thanks to Kristen and John and everybody. And I've had a nice, very nice conversation with Cassie. Thank you. And hope to move forward. And Karen, we got to see you at our vaccination sites. You were so done with COVID. We are so done. So thank you, everyone. The guy next door is cutting the grass, so I'm going to mute myself. But I just want to take this time to thank you all. We appreciate your efforts, and we are going to stand supported behind you. We'll be at the Monarch Walk, and we plan to keep supporting Rick Graham. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. I think all of us, if you could see the smiles on our faces, and you'll be shocked, but it is just small things like that that keep all of us moving. On days when we feel defeated and we feel, you know, when will this end? Small things, just to know you have our back is what keeps us coming back every single day. So thank you so much, Diane.
Currently, there's no hands up, but if anyone would like to unmute, you are all able to do so. If you'd like to ask any questions or make any comments or ask for clarification, please feel free.
Okay, that means we either bored you to death or you cannot wait to get off. But either way, we do love you and we are so happy you are here. Just you showing up makes us very, very, you know, feel supported. If you have any questions about anything that we shared, really reach out. We are all looking forward to seeing you at the walk. I will tell you, you all have cabin fever. We have not seen each other for a while. So if you are there, we'll try to do it safely and socially distanced. But again, we are stronger in numbers, and it is critical that we all continue to be engaged and to be there. And, you know, when Kamo says when the information comes out and we want you to make a phone call, help us to make that phone call. Because when we are loud enough, it's hard for us to be ignored. But again, a few things I just want to add. We have October and November, we do have speaker series. Also in this format, we have speakers that are coming out, and you may be able to learn something that can help your family member. It's about employment, it's about DRS, it's about future planning. So if you are able to join when we send that information, please join us. But again, thank you so much for being here tonight, for supporting us and making us stronger as a team and as an organization. So enjoy your evening. Thank you so much.